Hello and welcome to a new episode of Airport CEO here on BongoPlanes, where we have plenty of things to do in this episode because we want to get operations started here at Terminal 1. We want to have the first civil aircraft coming in with PAX traffic. And we still have a few things we need to do for that. Mainly we need to get all our equipment sorted so that we have enough GSE ready for that. And there's of course also some other things we want to do because we also want to work towards opening up some of our larger stands for the wide-body aircrafts. Before we, however, get too far into the episode, if you should end up enjoying this video, then don't forget to smash the like button. That really helps us out. And of course, if you are new around here, you're most welcome to hit subscribe. Now, the first thing we want to do is here, we want to add a few more buildings. Specifically, we want to add the catering building and the waste depot, I think it's called. Obviously, we would need those for some of the services the airport can offer to airlines in the future. I don't think we will actually start operating this in today's episode, but at least we will get the construction started so that it is ready for us to utilize in the future. Of course, we also want to keep the parts of the airport running that we have already opened up. So the government's terminal needs to have a few more aircraft coming in over the next couple of hours and perhaps days. Of course, in the last episode, we added already a few viewer-requested airlines. Now, I'm recording this episode just before I'm releasing the video the last episode, basically. This is a little bit strange. But depending on how many suggestions you will put into the previous episode of this series, I will probably add it in the end of this episode so we can get these airlines coming in as well. Otherwise, it will be in the next episode. Now, if that wasn't confusing, I don't know what. But that's the magic of editing videos ahead of time and then sometimes screwing yourself over in the timeline. Again, I don't know if that made any sense. I think what I'm just trying to say is that if you have any suggestions for airlines that we could add to the airport, then keep them coming. Alright, so the first thing we really want to do here to make sure that we can actually get aircraft in today here at Terminal 1 and have them having a smooth turnaround is that we need to add some more infrastructure. Mainly we need vehicle depots because obviously we need to buy some GSE and they need housing. I will try to build these vehicle depots spread out all over the airport, mainly in the attempt to always have some vehicle depots close to the various areas we have at the airport. I mean, the airport is basically split up in sections, and these sections are determined by what gates are connected to a specific baggage bay. I think that's the most logical way of basically handling this stuff. And I will try to add not just the vehicle depots close to each of these sections, but I will also buy all the necessary GSE that is needed at these stands and then assign the vehicles to these specific depots in the hope that that will make sure that they are always close to the gates where we need them, so that operations, at least from that side of or from that point of view, can be as smooth as humanly possible. That is the general idea. So we might we might end up having maybe a few too many vehicle depots compared to the amount of GSE that we will have. But I'd rather have some excess space in the vehicle depots than having GSE having to go from one side of the airport to the other side of the airport just to handle an aircraft. So instead of basically having everything serve everything, we are trying to basically break everything down into small ecosystems. That should also help us identify if we have issues at the airport that we, for example, see, okay, at the west part of Terminal 1, things are not running as they should. Maybe we need a little bit more GSE over there. So that's basically the idea, just basically breaking everything down into the individual parts, making sure that they run smoothly, and thereby also ensuring that we can see if something doesn't run smoothly and then where we need to fix it. And since we're talking about things running smoothly, now I'm not the one to really criticize this game quite a lot, especially not when I know that it is an alpha. In fact, I think I actually praise it far more than I'm criticizing it. And I'm even quite forgiving with small bugs here and there, especially because I know that the developers are really doing great work to fix all these. So maybe take this not as a criticism, but just as a little side note, something that I actually found quite annoying, more than actually any other box I've come across so far. And that's just when you're trying to buy vehicles, you have a slider so you could buy more than one vehicle at a time, and that slider is broken. So that's really annoying because it means you can only buy one vehicle at a time and you have to wait for it to arrive. And yeah, that's annoying. But again, it is an alpha, so these small hiccups are bound to happen. And I mean, I have played AAA games that are fully developed and where you have to pay like AAA full price for it, and they have way more bugs and they don't get fixed. So I mean, it is something I can live with, and I think anyone can live with, but obviously it would be nice to have it fixed. Now, one thing I'm working on here right now is actually to assign the GSE that I have bought to specific vehicle depots. That's the thing I talked about just a few minutes ago. Basically that way ensuring that we will always have GSE in specific areas and always close to specific gates. You can even to some degree assign GSE to specific gates, and we might want to do that at a later stage down the road when the airport gets more busy. But for now, I think we would just try to have the vehicles assigned to depots and see if that isn't enough to make things run smoothly. Yeah, I think this is like the main topic of the series, isn't it? Making things running smoothly, which was also the main topic of the last series we did. But it is a challenge to make these airports really operate properly, which is a good thing. I mean, it would be quite boring if it was super easy and pretty much regardless of what you did, everything would just run. So in that sense, it's actually nice because it kind of, you are forced to kind of develop strategies of how this airport or how your airport could run smoothly, as I so like to say. So I mean, I think that's really a major part of the game, really. Obviously, there are maybe some things where the game is not really helping you achieve that, so where the game logic maybe would need further development, but I mean, overall, I would say it's actually quite nice that it is also a bit challenging and not just straightforward. Now, obviously, there are other things to a well-run airport than GSE, and that's workers. You need those. And of course, the whole worker system has been overhauled with the R&D update. We talked about it already in the last episode, but they actually made one assumption, to be honest, about the workers, and I found out that that was not correct. Now, what I was talking about in the last episode was the rating system and the salaries corresponding to that. Now, I know in the last episode I talked about that they used to have multiple ratings each worker, and they dropped that system to have just one rating. That is all correct. But what I was assuming was that basically you could hire workers with a low rating, but you can then train them. But that would then mean that you, for example, had a way of having cheaper workers, because if you hired someone with a low rating, they would basically have a low salary. If you hired someone with a high rating, they would have a high salary, and that way you could basically trade off, maybe saying, okay, I start off with low rated workers with whatever that then does to my operations, but over time I can train them and they will become better, but I will then still have the trade-off of having low salaries. That is unfortunately not the case. Basically, the salary will raise if you train your workers. So I think that's a little bit of a missed point, and honestly speaking, I don't quite see the idea with that. I think the whole concept of having the option of either hiring someone that is low rated but then also has a low salary, which they will basically keep throughout the game, or to hire someone who is highly rated and then also has a high salary and then helps you basically having a great start from the beginning. I think that would be a more balanced system. Basically now it's just okay, it doesn't matter really if I hire someone low rated or high rated, because the salary will always end up being high if I start training a low rated person, or I can just skip the training and just hire someone who's high rated from the beginning. I think that's a little bit, well, I don't know, a missed point in a way. I think they could have done a little bit better with that, but who knows, maybe that will be adjusted at some point. But then again, I'm just thinking out loud here. So I don't know, maybe the way the developers did it is just the perfect way, and I will learn to appreciate that over time. For the moment, I mean, I was just thinking, I don't know, maybe it was just that I had thought it would be different than it was, and was a bit surprised with that. But hey, we will see. Maybe it is pretty nice the way they did it. Alright, so while we've done all that in the background, I've already scheduled the first flights coming in here to Terminal 1, as always, with quite spread out schedules, just to make sure that, at least in the beginning, if we run into issues, that we are not coming into heaps of problems with passengers being stranded and so on, so we can sort out these small hiccups if they should occur. So while we are waiting for these aircraft to come in, we can start or continue to work here on Terminal 1, basically the north part of Terminal 1, where we have our wide-body operations, or we will have our wide-body operation, I should rather say. So we, of course, also need to do something over here. We still need to build the baggage retrieval area. We already done all the boarding desks and the check-in counters in the last episode, so that's all done. So it's mainly now just connecting up our luggage system, so that we could actually then potentially, I'm not promising too much here, but potentially could start having some wide-body aircraft coming in the next episode if everything goes well. So one of the small challenges that we have here is that we need to make sure that whatever system we put in place here is capable of also afterwards being extended to our east pier at Terminal 1, because we will also have a baggage retrieval area in the east area. We will also have one in the south area, so basically all four corners of the building. But the east corner of the building will be, or the baggage retrieval area of the east corner and the check-in area of the east corner will be connected via the north part of the terminal, and then going over to the west part, where we then have the line going all the way over to our baggage base. I hope that makes any sense to you. Basically, we just need to make sure that the lines that we are putting in place here will be accessible for other parts of the terminal, so that we can really have baggage systems at all four corners of the building. That's basically what I'm trying to say. I don't know, I think I'm making everything far too complicated today. I hope you can follow me. One of the things we need to do here is obviously we need to extend our building underground here, because obviously with the latest update, everything that has to be constructed has to be reachable, physical reachable by the workers. That means if you construct anything underground, the workers need to be able to reach underground. They can't just construct it from ground floor level, which makes total sense, but it is a change in the game. They didn't need to do that in the past. So yeah, we need to extend the terminal building here underground so that we can actually reach all these areas, so that we can put in the luggage system. Meanwhile, I think we've actually missed our first aircraft here, which is my fault entirely. I'm pretty sure I put a Lufthansa in as the first aircraft, and it has already left, and I didn't notice any notifications about any problems, so I think the turnaround just worked. I saw the EasyJet leaving as well. Now we have here the Norwegian. That does seem to work as well. Yeah, so that's really good news. If we have managed actually to pull this off and make everything run as it should, yeah, that would be awesome. So that would of course mean that we can just straight away add more flights coming in here to Terminal 1 and yeah, see how it goes on in the future. Let me just see to connect this up so that this gate is ready as well. And yeah, so that is pretty good news, and yeah, it's being pulled out as well. So perfect, everything is running as it should. So let's see our schedule, which seems to bug out a little bit today, but it's not too bad. It just jumps from days to days, or what it displays. But let's add a few more flights in and see what we can do here. So the Lufthansa has obviously still quite a few flights left. I will still leave quite a lot of space between flights, just to make sure that we don't overload here. And yeah, in case something should come up, that we have time to react. We have Swiss, of course. These are, except for Lufthansa, all airlines that you had actually requested. So yeah, Aer Lingus, they have quite a few flights actually that they offer. But I think we will take a few more EasyJets in, because obviously they do fly quite a lot to Berlin-Tegel. and that would be quite realistic to have a lot of those coming in. Obviously, at some point I will also start spreading out the airlines over the terminal, so when we at some point in the future come over to Terminal 2 and start constructing that, I would, for example, move all EasyJet over to Terminal 2, because that's where they would be operating from in real life as well. Alright, but back to our work here at the baggage system for the northern pier of Terminal 1. And as this episode is getting a bit longer than I had anticipated, I think we will skip the process of adding more airlines in today's episode. But I do promise you I will add more airlines in the next episode. The only thing that is required really for me to do that is that you guys leave suggestions. Now, you might already have done that in the last episode, but obviously, as I explained, I've recorded this episode before I released the last episode. We're back to the whole time traveling thingy. Anyway, just leave your suggestions. If they're any way realistic, I will add them, I promise you, and they will be in the next episode. Yeah. Alright, so we need, of course, to connect up our lovely baggage retrieval area. We also need to connect up all the check-in counters that we have. So, yeah, we need a line going in and then a line going out. And then we need to work out a way here how we can cross, because basically the line that is leading in, so from the baggage way and over to the baggage retrieval area, is basically on the wrong side here. So we need to move over to the other side. And I think I just ruined this, yeah. I just broke my line. Please construct this very quickly. Anyway, let's move on. So we need to kind of move it over. Obviously, we can't cross lines. So what we need to do here is we will need to simply move via different floors. I think that's the... yeah, so we move up just for a little while, then cross down again. That way we still have a way open here, so we can connect more belts to the line going out, which we will also need, because we will still need to have a line going out. So yeah, we need to have this opened up. So that can be a little bit tricky. Sometimes you need to think about how you want to structure your whole system there, so that you are sure that you don't end up having crossing lines, because crossing lines do not work in this game with the baggage belts, which I guess makes sense. It wouldn't work in real life either. I think those systems would also be pretty much separated. Obviously, there are a few more tools in real life than we have here, but anyway, we can make this work. And yeah, so we are just working with different floors so that we can move our luggage, our inbound and outbound luggage around each other. Alright, so while I'm working on that in the background, I think we should slowly wrap up this episode, and I will continue with this off camera so that it is ready and operational for the next episode. Yeah, so with that, if you have enjoyed the video, then don't forget to smash the like button. That really helps us out. If you're new around here, want to subscribe, don't forget to suggest your airlines. You can trust me, I will add them. I don't know why you would not trust me. Obviously you can trust me. Oh, now I said you should trust me too many times. Anyway, just trust me and leave your suggestions for more airlines that we can add in the video. With that, I'd like to say thank you so much for having watched today's episode. I hope you have enjoyed, and hope to see you soon again. I'm checking out, and bye.